April 6th, 2023. Thanks for watching the Calvary briefing. And if you are watching today, you are a part of this attempt that we are making as a church to consolidate and put everything into one big email each week. And so you have received the Calvary connection. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for watching the briefing. To be a follower of Jesus Christ, you have to believe what the Bible says about Jesus Christ. You have to believe that He actually existed, that He came to earth. You have to believe that He literally and physically died on a cross as your substitute for sin. And you have to believe that He rose up from death, alive forever. These claims and these important beliefs are on our minds this week that we call Holy Week. And to encourage you, I wanted to remind you of some of the big truths of the resurrection that were written down recently by Justin Taylor. And this week on the briefing and next week on the briefing, I want to hit the resurrection from two different angles. And the angle that I wanted to hit today has to do with the historical facts of the resurrection. As we head toward Easter Sunday and as we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, it seems to be miraculous. And it is. It is a miracle. It is supernatural. It is something outside of normal physical happenings in our lives. But there are some significant historical facts that help us to live by faith in Jesus and to believe that the resurrection really did happen. Historical fact number one: the tomb of Jesus of Nazareth was discovered empty. This discovery is reported in 6 different resources: Luke 24, John 20, 1 Corinthians 15, Mark 16, Matthew 28, and Acts 2. And some of these verses and some of these passages in our New Testament are some of the most early manuscripts that we have in the entire New Testament. And this is important because when an event is recorded by 2 or more unconnected sources, historians' confidence in that event actually increases quite a bit. And the earlier that these sources are dated, the higher is their confidence. It is also interesting that in these accounts of the empty tomb of Jesus of Nazareth, we find that the discovery of this empty tomb was attributed to women. We don't think much about that today, but in the days of Jesus of Nazareth in the first century, and especially in Israel, if you were going to put an event together, a miraculous event, and put people in charge of discovering that event, it would have been men, not women. The testimony of women in most courts of law was not even honored. And so again, that gives us more information about the resurrection that indicates that it is valid. Historical fact number 2. Many people experienced appearances of Jesus alive after His death. In one of the earliest letters in the New Testament, Paul provides a list of witnesses to Jesus' resurrection appearances. 1 Corinthians 15, verses 5 through 8. He appeared to Peter, then to the 12, then He appeared to more than 500 brothers at one time, most of whom are still alive. Then He appeared to James, then to all the apostles, and finally He appeared also to me. Furthermore, various resurrection appearances of Jesus are independently confirmed by other gospel accounts. On the basis of Paul's testimony alone, virtually all historical scholars agree that various individuals and groups experienced Jesus alive after His death. A scholar by the name of Gerd Ludemann wrote this: It may be taken as historically certain that Peter and the disciples had experiences after Jesus' death in which Jesus appeared to them as the risen Christ. So, historical fact number 1, the tomb of Jesus of Nazareth was discovered empty. Historical fact number 2, many people experienced appearances of Jesus alive after his death. Historical fact number 3, the followers of Jesus believed in his resurrection. After the crucifixion of Jesus, his followers were devastated. They had lost hope. They were demoralized. They were actually hiding in fear for their very lives. The Jews, when they were thinking of a Messiah, were not thinking of resurrection. The only resurrection that most Jews ever thought about was a resurrection at the end of time when God would judge people. They had no concept of a Messiah who would suffer and die and be executed by his enemies, and no concept that this Messiah would then come back to life. They believed only in this final universal resurrection at the end of all time. But they became so completely convinced of Jesus' resurrection that when threatened by death and with death, not one of them recanted or turned from that great truth. Even the Pharisee, Paul, who persecuted Christians, suddenly he became a Christian himself, as did Jesus' skeptical younger brother by the name of James. Luke Timothy Johnson writes, "Some sort of powerful, transformative experience is required to generate the sort of movement earliest Christianity was." N.T. Wright writes, "That is why, as an historian, I cannot explain the rise of early Christianity unless Jesus rose again, leaving an empty tomb behind him." It is Holy Week. It is Easter. And we want to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And I hope that these 3 historical facts will add to your celebration and give you more boldness as to the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Believe it. He is risen.